all we have to do is trust him, surrender, be still, which is very difficult to do when you are an overachiever. It takes one to know one, right, sister? but that's actually the only way, because it's kind of any form of death. You have to die in order to be resurrected. I mean, death precedes resurrection. And that we live constantly a lot of little deaths so that we can live in resurrection. So anyone watching, listening, whatever the stumbling block, the battlefield looks like in your life, be brave enough, trusting in God's goodness, and be self-aware enough to invite him on that battlefield to fight those battles for you, even if it's the most painful thing you've ever done in your life, because it is the most liberating and the one that will bring him the most glory.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think about, you mentioned the word surrender there. I was at a women's retreat this past weekend, and one of the prayers that one of the speakers said was, let come. And I think I was just talking to a spiritual mentor yesterday, and we were talking about how sometimes in the process of humbling, God will let come these challenges, and they are tailor-made for us out of love to make us into his image, to make us humble people, to humble us in a gently loving way. And we want to resist that. I know I do. I want to resist the annoyances. I want to resist waiting in line or waiting for a child or whatever it is. I don't like that. I resist it. But if we, as you said, surrender, we can see that it's God's love for us to make us into his image, and that these painful things are really expressions of God's love for us.
And he invites us to practice it in a million little ways, because every Christian that I know who's serious in their faith, they're like, yeah, of course, I've surrendered to God and I want to surrender to him. But then the question becomes, well, yeah, but what does that look like? Because we're like, yeah, I surrender the big things. Usually, we all are okay with surrendering the big things, but we won't. If we're not faithful in the little things, he will not trust us with the big things. So we won't be able to actually truly surrender the big things if we don't practice surrendering the little things, which looks like waiting in line, being kind, being patient in a million little things throughout the day. Because if we fight those, then we won't be able to surrender in the big things. And that's why I think motherhood really helps, doesn't it? Talk about, surrendering a million little things every day.